Hi, guys. I see that we have a pretty good crowd here. Um, Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. It's great to see you. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jim. Hi, Torstein and Ranter. And oh boy, Voodoos, thank you for joining me today. I have been super sick. Uh, excuse me. I have had the cold from hell. And to open up with this, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a little raunchy. And I'm going to start with telling you this is the cold. You know, when you have a dog, and I hope everyone's experienced a dog, you take your dog to go, and that dog has that turd that just won't shake off. Well, that's what this cold is. It's the turd that I can't shake. So I don't know if that means I'm the dog, but I'm depending on all of you to tell me if I sound too horrible to read this because of my illness. I've had, again, so, you know, 2020, here we are, 2020, and I have this feeling, and I don't know if any of you do, this feeling that I'm on top of a mountaintop. I'm way on top, and I am screaming and I am shouting, "Help!" The planet's on fire. I don't know, and it's just like nobody hears. It's deaf ears. Nobody hears. Nobody listens. Um, I don't know who else has made this analogy. I just been thinking about it for a long time. I felt it for a long time. And I'm not the only one because you're all with me. You're all here with me. And it's a very lonely place uh, to be living in this age of, well, electronic media. Everything flies around the internet so fast you don't know what's true, what's not. You have to be a very discriminating person on YouTube, online. The stuff is starting already. At least I see it in the United States. The propaganda, because it's an election time, and we know my volume's a little low. Okay, I'll make it louder. I can make it louder. Uh, it's an election time, and we are, of course, now, you know, all bets are off. There's the Democratic debates tonight in the United States. And hi, Louise from Australia. Oh my gosh, I'm going to read this soon. I just wanted to have a little commentary, and if I can't read the whole thing, you can read it. I'll put the link in. I needed, after being so sick, I needed some intellectual stimulation. I needed some some of my people online. So Voodoo says sick dogs should be put to sleep. I know I don't sound good. It's just hanging on. It's hanging on. It's hanging on. Okay, my sound's okay now? All right, so cheers. I'm going to try something with this article. Y'all know that I like Umair Haque, and I'll read him. I'm going to try to see if I can put it right up on the screen while I'm reading if I don't screw it up. Going south says the whole planet is sick. Everybody has this cold. And my background screen, right? What does it mean? Does it mean that, okay, I have been depressed? I'm not going to lie. I mean, who could not be with all the shit that's happening in our world? We almost go to war. The lying, the climate denial, everything that's going on. Okay. But when I first saw this picture, and I had put this on, I guess, Facebook a long, long time ago, and to me, it's my hand, and it's my feeling, and everything around me is congestion and mucus. It was not really like, oh my God, I'm dying that way. I just felt like I was constantly having all this crap. So let's get started on the story. I think we've got quite a few people here, so this will be cool to go. And I'm going to try this right on screen. And let's see how it goes. And I'm going to move the chat a little bit, guys, so I can see it. And then I'll bring the chat back because I'm really getting better at this whole eCam Live, which takes forever for me. So the article is Umair Haque, and how do you grieve for 1 billion lost lives? What the Australian Megafires teach us about the kind of people the 21st century needs us to be. Here's a tiny question. How do you grieve for 1 billion lost lives? I don't mean rhetorically. I mean it quite seriously. After all, that's how many lives were lost as Australia's burned so far. Not just human ones, perhaps I should say. Koalas, kangaroos, wombats, many, many more kinds of creatures. Perhaps my question strikes you as absurd, ridiculous. Like a good American, maybe you believe only in the ways of violence. Why bother grieving for a bunch of dead animals? Who cares? That too is a good question. Why indeed should we grieve for 1 billion lost lives? Why should we care? One way, by the way, not to have to, is to get lost in the noise. It wasn't 1 billion lives. It was 999,381,764 and 102. That, my friends, is called rationalization, justification, and denial. And let me tell you, I went through all of those things this week, and I wonder how many of us did. It absolves us of guilt through a kind of narrow-minded oversimplification, the kind of foolish, over-statistical thinking for which American pundits are now so famous. The easy answer's this. Those lost lives nourish and sustain us too. The animals nurture the soil and forests and rivers and oceans, which we rely on. The fish purify the waters. The mammals nest in the trees. The insects and the little things replenish the soil. As they go, so our greatest ecosystems reach tipping points, places of sudden collapse. Nobody knows when the insects reach a tipping point and the soil turns to dust. We just know such a thing happens. Nobody knows when the fish reach a tipping point and the rivers turn to mud. We just know such a thing happens. So the easy answer is we depend on the animals. They provide us what ecologists call support services. That is, we just don't eat them. They keep the fragile balance of our planet precisely, carefully poised at the place where it's habitable for us too. I don't think the easy answer is a very good one, though. It still smacks of a kind of arrogance, supremacism, born of capitalism. We should value the animals because they provide us services. In other words, like good employees, the animals should be valued for their productivity. Laughing out loud. But how are we to go about that task? Perhaps we do what some ecological economists do and try to value these ecological services. But there is a great problem with this line of thinking. It's the problem in all capitalist logic, really. Nothing has intrinsic value or inherent worth in capitalism's moral logic. Nothing. Not you, not your kids, not democracy, society, decency, humanity, and certainly not tiny, defenseless creatures perishing in the walls of flame the size of skyscrapers. But when things don't have an intrinsic worth, what do we call them? They are, as Marx said, things without dignity. They are capable of being exploited and exploiting. The only kind of society that kind of logic allows or permits is what America's become, a predatory one, a place where the only law is exploitation. Whatever kind of abuse, harm, and damage you can inflict and get away with, maybe just in order to survive, where people never invest in one another anymore, because without inherent worth, what reason is there for me to ever invest in you, your health care, kids, retirement? Let me put all that more precisely, because I think it's probably intuitive for you Europeans to get, but very difficult for Americans to see. If you and I only ever pay each other what our productivity is, then there is precisely no reason to give one another things like health care, education, retirement, childcare, income savings, and so on. You are only worth what you produce. So all those things, they're your own problem. Go and fend for yourself if you can. Americans don't quite understand. They don't understand it. But that is the deep reason, the philosophical one, that America ended up collapsing. Being a society with only one real logic in it, capitalism, it had no way to grant anyone or anything intrinsic worth. The only worth or value anything or anyone has is how much profit they can produce. And of that profit, the lion's share goes to those who are owners. So the average person never sees a fair share of their productivity to begin with. As a result, the average person is too poor to invest in things like healthcare, education, retirement, and childcare for all. But that is a consequence of a deeper cause. Such things have no reason to exist, and therefore no way to, because no one and nothing deserves them, having no inherent or inalienable worth. Now consider Europe. There, the understanding is very different. People give each other health care, education, transport, media, retirement, and so on. Why? Precisely because the central belief is that everyone has inherent, intrinsic, inalienable, worth. But not just as some kind of vague, fuzzy notion that people believe in on Sundays or in books. In a real way. You see, if I believe that you have intrinsic and inalienable worth, then I must invest in you. How much? Well, to the precise point that you have the worth in hard resources. That is inalienable to you. Hence, Europeans invest in one another in hard, concrete ways. And they don't do so reluctantly. They do so enthusiastically. France has been paralyzed by nationwide strikes for months now because people want to give one another better pensions. In America, any part of that sentence is laughable. So, let me tie up those threads. Capitalism cheats us of inherent, inalienable worth. It also says that nothing has intrinsic worth: beauty, truth, grace, meaning, purpose. But that rules out everything. Everything that matters in life. Love, relationships, empathy, happiness. None of those things can exist without intrinsic worth. Can they? If I believe that my kid, partner, puppy has no inherent value, do I really love them? Of course I could not. And that answers the questions you might have had. Why should we grieve for a bunch of dead things anyway? But the answer is a difficult one, not just because they serve us, not so that we think like dumb little capitalists, Scrooges without souls, Bezoses without a point in life beyond money. They don't exist just to serve us. That's an immature way to think and feel about the world, to treat it like a slave. We grieve because that is how we reclaim all that is best and truest in us. And without being those kind of people, our societies cannot prosper either. We cannot feel happiness, joy, have meaning or purpose, or relationships feel, become, grow, develop, mature, not just as individuals, but also as societies, without giving one another the necessary gift of inherent and inalienable worth. As societies without inalienable worth, we will never develop expansive social contracts and public goods, which lift our living standards higher. We will simply decline and degenerate and find ourselves at each other's throats, perhaps like Australia is now. As individuals without intrinsic worth, we will never become mature people capable of loving, really able to see, hold, and know each other. We will remain insecure, anxious, and frightened, caught in a vicious trap of compete against everyone else for status, esteem, money, resources, instead of simply giving one another real worth. And therefore, we will be easily led towards self-destruction by demagogues, like the Americans have. We must all bear witness to this terrible ecocide in Australia, not in the way of impotent rage, no, nor in the way of empty revenge, but so that our humanity is reclaimed a little bit from the forces that have stripped it bare. Capital, money, power-seeking, arrogance, egotism, narcissism, so that we remember a great and beautiful challenge. Giving that improbable gift of inherent and inalienable worth to others in real ways, through rights, money, attention, power, is how progress happens. When I recognize you as a being who must never be violated, but always nourished, that I must nurture you. And as I nurture you, I grow too. Whether or not you serve me or simply walk free, I have grown by giving you this gift. I have become more capable of being my better self. In that giving of love, truth, empathy, grace, and in seeing and holding and knowing you, I'm creating a world too where I will be seen, held, and known. Now this thing called civilization becomes possible. It has always and only been this, you and I, recognizing one another as beings of inherent beauty, truth, wisdom, purpose, grace, and meaning. When we see ourselves, as a wise man once said, in the littlest among us, then we have done something that really matters. We have made our world a more decent place. And it is more likely, therefore, to be decent to us too. Kind, humane, forgiving, to invest in us, because now there is more to invest. That is the lesson of the European miracle. It is also the lesson of the American collapse. Failing to get it. And it is the lesson of the Australian ecocide too. Because if all those little ones, the ones who are wiser than us, the koalas and wombats, if they had always had an inherent worth, as in the rights and resources to live without being incinerated by walls of flame, Australians country probably wouldn't have burned. Wither. We are in it together, my friends, from the smallest and humblest to the largest and fiercest. All of those who have told you different have always been wrong. All of those who have been trying to teach you this, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, MLK, have always been on the side of truth, beauty, grace, and growth. Isn't it time you finally understood the beauty and power and terrible price of this truest and oldest of lessons? Oh, wow, that was pretty good. Now I'm going to bring you guys back so I can see what everybody's talking about. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to close that screen out. I have nothing to bring up. Perhaps I can just bring up the little kangaroo to make us, know where we're from, know what we're talking about. I think that Umair writes beautifully, and I only wish I could sit and have the patience and not fiddle, to be able to write like that. But at least I can narrate it to you. And even on the tail end or the other side of a horrible cold, I really wanted to do it. And what are the lessons we hear? You know, what are the lessons that we learn from hearing these kinds of things? Oh, hi, John. John's with us. Thank you for joining us, John. Oh, my gosh. So, how long have I been on? 21 minutes, not bad. Um, I see that you guys have been having a great conversation. Uh, the Voodoos was talking, I think, with Going South about what tipping elements do you believe we shall cross? And I think we already passed the important ones. Well, listen, at the risk of sounding like a doomer, at the risk of sounding negative and not hopeful and all that other hooey and everything else, I think so too. But that is only based on my non-scientific, inquisitive mind, reading what I can get my hands on to learn from, not just watching videos, but reading and looking at scientific evidence, but also having and surrounding myself, like we all do, with people that are brilliant. Surround yourself with brilliance, and some of it rubs off. Groot, thanks. I'm glad you're feeling better. Well, let me tell you what I'm feeling like right now. When I get out of here, when I get off, I'm dying actually. But Voodoo says yes. The diminishing Arctic sea ice is a problem, and boy, don't we know it on this channel. And um, Carl says, in the time of extinction, we must all find ways, only abide, only love. It is in us, and it is our higher self. For people, I'm an empath. I feel too much sometimes, too much to where, besides my own physical pain that I suffer from, I feel empathy and I feel too much sometimes. And I don't know if that means that we are, a lot of us are here for that reason. And there's music and there's things that trigger emotions. And the other night, and I don't know how many of you might do this, the other night I just listened to music that I hadn't listened to in a long time, a band that I love, the Moody Blues, and it was like listening to things written in the 1960s that are exactly the same now. Nothing has changed. How many different administrations in the United States and different um, uh, governments in all over, and all these things that we've done, every country all over. It's unbelievable sometimes. Well, Groot asks, is it warmer than normal? Well, that's another rant I could go on. I can go on the rant of weather whiplash, which is exactly what's been going on here. We had snow, we had ice, it was 9. A few days later, it went up. We got to 62 in Buffalo, New York. That's not, normal winter here is not 62. Today, it was in the 40s. Let me see what it is right now. I can tell you what it is right now. 43. And it doesn't go down until like Thursday and Friday. But then it looks like maybe we'll get a little more winter again, the up and down. I'll tell you guys, oh look, oh my, I'm going to show you what we got on the desk here. This has been happening because of this, exactly because of this. All right, can you see this guy? All right, wait, because of this, the way this is. Can you see that little guy on me? Whoop! All right, he's not really Not really a ladybug. She's not really a ladybug. I don't know, whatever kind of bug she is. My cats like to try to get them. They're little flying little bugs with shells and all. Uh, they're in the house. Nobody knows what to do, you know. The bugs don't know what to do. Hi, Mindy. Oh, Mindy. I have to say, Mindy, I played your your water video, and with Max in Finland. Thank you, Max Hapsataki. Thank you so much for the audio. I played that earlier, Mindy. Mindy does the most beautiful graphic arts. It's just I mean, you know, I'm when I feel really depressed, which I have, and I'm not going to lie, because we all feel it. You know, I just seen Copy Cooney came on. Okay, I know where he lives in Oregon. He talks about this is something that's been bothering me all winter. They're clear cutting up in our state park. The logging trucks have been going down my street this year, and it's been pissing me off like it pisses him off. There are just so many things to feel so frustrated about. And when you're like me and you can't really do much about it, because it's not like I right now can get out there and stand up and go to protests every other week. It's not that time of my life, but it's so frustrating. Just the overwhelming amount of information that's there. Yeah, Asian beetles hiding in they're Asian beetles. They're hiding in my siding. Knowing me, they'll probably eat up my house. And I don't know. Or my cats will eat them up. I don't like to even squish them. I don't like to hear the bug squishing noise. It makes me sick. Yes, Lady Ella says she's impressed by the amazing graphics. Well, thank Mindy. She's here. Mindy Donham. And I'm going to put you up there, Mindy, because Mindy is just a pro. I love Mindy more than anything. You're all wonderful. Okay, now Groot's asking me if I think the doomsday clock is going to move next week. Now he says no. Can it move any closer, Groot? How many years have we been doing this? I can't prognosticate. I'm not that person. I can't. Mindy will just have to make me another doomsday graphic like she did in 2017. But anyway. Oh. All right, well, listen. We've got 49 people. It's been a half an hour, and it has been absolutely wonderful to have you all with me. Stephen, oh, the raccoons in New Jersey have not gone into hibernation. Do they go into hiding or hibernation or into somebody's roof? Because I know that that's what they will do. Yeah. Well, anyway. Well, thank you for all coming. Ectopian. Yeah, Copy Cooney is okay. And he's out in the Pacific Northwest. He's an activist. You know, they're destroying the forests. He's an activist. Suffice it to say, he's an activist. And he's an empathetic activist, though an angry one, and there's a lot of us, you know. All right, guys. Friday night. Oh no, not I know they don't hibernate. I'm not a clueless moron. I don't know why I thought that they're out all winter. I didn't think it. Anyway, it's just something to laugh at, right? Because I know they don't hibernate. Neither do the rabbits. Friday night, Antonio, Nicholas, and hopefully Jennifer. Well, yeah, we're going to try to do a state of the planet for the new year. And I'm not sure if we're going to do it on Facebook or YouTube yet. I don't know how to go back and forth. I mean, I don't know how to do it twice. You know, it's called IO stream, something like that. There's a way so I can do that, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth. And Stephen, you said they hibernate. You don't because we don't see them. Does that mean they hibernate? Oh my! Oh, this is a mug. It's a mug. It's green. All right. 30 minutes and 20 seconds. Thank you for coming. Now, tonight is the Democratic debate in the United States, and there's another show I really like called Let the Madness Begin. I believe they're going to be on tonight. And Going South says, do it on Snap. I have no idea. And don't forget, Real Progressives in Action and Real Progressives channels. Who else am I going to throw out? Paul Beckwith, Going South. Oh, let me see if I can bring that picture in of, I'm going to go all the way down, A Frozen Earth. Do not forget. And I will let you read it. And I will take a sip of my coffee while you see that Climate Crush TV is your channel for the end times. And on that note, climate state. Okay, wait. He's okay. Climate state. There's another one to throw out. Pink Barrio. Oh my gosh. And Bernie Sanders 2020. That's mine. I'm not talking on behalf of the channel. I'm talking on the behalf of my heart and my soul. You know, give me a little something to look forward to, a little snippet, a little thing that can make me just say, there's something to wake up for in the morning. There is. You guys, my cats, and maybe clearing up. All right, guys,